Before I tell you why the final stretch is the most important stretch of any pursuit, let me first walk you through the single most expensive mistake that people make when they are this close to the finish, because it is so common, so counterintuitive, and so quietly devastating that most people do not even recognize they are making it until the cost is already paid. The mistake is easing up, not quitting. Easing up, slowing down just slightly when the destination is in sight, allowing the proximity of the goal to substitute for the full effort still required to reach it, treating almost there as if it were already there, as if the final mile could be walked at a stroll because the previous 26 were run at full pace. It is the runner who celebrates at the 25-meter mark instead of the tape, the entrepreneur who stops prospecting when the pipeline looks full, the student who coasts through the final weeks because the grade feels secure, the person who was so disciplined for so long that they allow themselves to relax at precisely the moment when relaxation has the highest cost.
Here is why this happens. Psychologists call it goal relaxation, the paradoxical tendency to reduce effort as a goal becomes more achievable. The closer we get to what we want, the more the brain begins to pre-spend the reward, the more it begins to treat the outcome as secured before it is, the more it begins to redirect energy away from the pursuit and toward the celebration. It is a cognitive trap built into the architecture of how human beings process progress, and it destroys more finish lines than failure ever has. Today, I want to close that trap permanently. And I am going to do it through 3 people who understood, at the most consequential possible moments, that the final stretch demands everything you have left, not less than you started with. Welcome to Motivation Daily. Think about Usain Bolt, the fastest human being ever recorded. The man who has run the 100 meters in 9.58 seconds, a time so far beyond what anyone had predicted was biologically achievable that sports scientists are still studying the data. What most people do not fully appreciate about Bolt's world record run in Berlin in 2009 is not just the speed, but the acceleration profile. Most elite sprinters reach their top speed between 60 and 80 meters and then manage the deceleration, trying to maintain as much of their peak velocity as possible through the final 20 meters when the body is naturally beginning to slow. Bolt accelerated through the 80-meter mark. When every other elite athlete in that final was beginning to decelerate, Bolt was still getting faster. He was not just finishing the race, he was attacking it. The record was not set by running 90 meters brilliantly and managing the final 10. It was set by treating every meter, including the last, as the meter that determined everything. He did not ease up when the tape was in sight. He ran through it as if the tape were 50 meters further on. That is why the record has stood for over 15 years. That is why it will likely stand for decades more. The final stretch was not where he coasted, it was where he detonated.
Now, think about Ernest Shackleton. In 1914, Shackleton led the Imperial Trans-Antarctic Expedition, an attempt to cross Antarctica on foot, a feat that had never been accomplished. His ship, the Endurance, became trapped in pack ice before the expedition could begin and was eventually crushed and sunk. 28 men were stranded on the ice, with no rescue coming and no way to communicate their position to the outside world. For nearly 2 years, Shackleton kept his crew alive through an ordeal that stretched the limits of human endurance across every possible dimension: physical, psychological, emotional, logistical. And then, when the crew was finally safe on Elephant Island, Shackleton and 5 others crossed 800 miles of the most treacherous ocean on Earth in a 22-foot lifeboat to reach South Georgia Island and raise the alarm. They landed on the wrong side of the island. The settlement was on the other side of an uncharted mountain range. Shackleton and 2 others crossed it, a route so dangerous that it had never been attempted, to reach help. After everything they had already endured, after months of survival that should have depleted every reserve, The final stretch demanded the most extraordinary thing they had done in the entire 2 years, and they delivered it. Not one of the 28 men died. The final stretch was not where Shackleton conserved. It was where he gave the last of what he had and found it was enough.
And think about Simone Biles, but through a specific lens reserved for this script. Think about the 2016 Rio Olympics, where Biles was the reigning world champion, entering as the overwhelming favorite across multiple events. The pressure of being the favorite, of being the person everyone expected to win, rather than the person chasing someone else, is its own unique form of the final stretch challenge. When you are expected to win, every performance is measured against the expectation, and the temptation to protect the lead rather than extend it is real. Biles did not protect anything. She performed. She competed with the same ferocity in the final rotation that she brought to the first. She won 4 gold medals and 1 bronze. She did not manage the expectation, she exceeded it. Not by being more talented than she had been in the preliminary rounds, but by refusing to let the proximity of the goal change the standard of the effort. The final stretch was not where she dialed back, it was where she made it undeniable.
Here is the instruction: specific, immediate, and non-negotiable. Whatever you are close to completing right now, the goal, the project, the transformation, the period of effort that has demanded so much of you for so long, do not ease up. Do not let the closeness of the finish line fool you into thinking the work is already done. Do not pre-spend the reward before it is earned. Attack the final stretch the way Bolt attacked the 80-meter mark. Cross the mountain the way Shackleton crossed it after 2 years of survival. Compete in the final rotation the way Biles competed in every other rotation. Finish strong. The tape is not behind you yet. Run through it. Share this with someone who is almost there and needs to be reminded that almost there still requires everything. Subscribe to Motivation Daily. We show up every day so you never ease up when it counts most. Drop a comment and tell me, what are you finishing strong on right now? Name the final stretch you are attacking. That declaration is your commitment to the tape. Let's go.